Hey! Hello everyone, how are you? Hope you're all in good health. Okay, this time I will explore the storyline of an Indian film entitled Fee. This film is produced in 2020, starred by Sudheer Babu as Aditya, Niveda Thomas as Apoorva, Aditi Rao as Saheba, Nani as Fee, and many other stars. This film tells the story of an ex-military who takes revenge on the man who killed his wife. How's the story? Let's get straight to the storyline. At the beginning, a riot occurred in the city of Hyderabad. People are running scared, cars are burned, there's a group of people who throw firebombs at the police. Then a policeman with sunglasses on come out of the car. His name Aditya, a police chief in the area. He asked about the situation. His partner replied that everything are out of control. Some old ladies come to him asking for help. Aditya swiftly takes off his clothes and fights all the criminals. Finally, he catches the provocateur of the riot. Aditya's success story spread everywhere from newspaper and television. Aditya then received the Star Cup award for successfully handling the riot case. He also gets cover from various magazines. One day, a beautiful girl named Apoorva comes visiting him while he's at a medal ceremony. Apoorva admits that she graduated from Physiology University and has an interest with Aditya. She wants to write a novel whose main character is played by Aditya. The next day, Aditya received a call, informed that Inspector Prasad was killed by a mysterious person. He was beaten to death at his own doorstep. Aditya greeted by two police officers from the criminal division at the crime scene. He looks inside and sees an inscription on Inspector Prasad's forehead, which says, "Aditya, I challenge you." Aditya is startled and silent. He rushes to take over the case and investigate. Aditya learned that the night before, Inspector Prasad had been contacted by Apoorva. Aditya gets suspicious of Apoorva and rushes to meet her. However, when Aditya met Apoorva, she admitted that she'd contact Inspector Prasad only to ask for permission to meet Aditya. Aditya couldn't just believe it. Suddenly, he received a call from someone who's claiming had killed Inspector Prasad. The person said that he will kill 4 more persons and challenge Aditya to stop him. Otherwise, Aditya will have to promise to quit the police force. Aditya and his partner start interrogating a lot of sources and meet one of the informants who used to work under Inspector Prasad. He says that Inspector Prasad had met with Mallikarjun some times ago. Aditya and his partner goes to meet Mallikarjun at an event. Mallikarjun seems panicked and avoided Aditya by making excuses that he did not invite him. Stealthily, Mallikarjun was being watched by V. It was he who had also killed Inspector Prasad some times before. On the other hand, Aditya, while watching the situation, is suddenly surprised by Apoorva's presence. Aditya wondered why Apoorva could be at the event, but Apoorva replies that her father colleague bought a villa on the land and invited her with her parents. Apoorva then tells Aditya that Mallikarjun is a suspicious person and there will be a big incident in the night. A guard tried to call Mallikarjun, but Mallikarjun didn't pick up the phone. He gets worried and then runs toward Mallikarjun's room. Aditya follows him and found Mallikarjun already died. Similarly, with Inspector Prasad's murder, a writing stuck to Mallikarjun's forehead, a message, "You miss." After the incident that night, Aditya takes Apoorva to his office and questioning her. He asks Apoorva, how can she be sure that Mallikarjun is so suspicious? Apoorva explains that a few days earlier, she had found Inspector Prasad and Mallikarjun chatting in a restaurant. They both discuss about the death threats to them both. Apoorva says they mean someone named Vicky. Aditya then challenges Apoorva to help him solve the case. Aditya goes to the forensic team to look for fingerprints as evidence. However, the forensic team having difficulties because the evidence was stained with the victim's blood and saliva. When he returns, Aditya is approached by a police investigator. He managed to find Vicky. Aditya, his college name Mansoor, and the police then decided that Vicky is the main suspect and arrest him. Vicky is discovered to be in a hotel, so they rush to the hotel. Aditya managed to catch Vicky inside the hotel, but doesn't realize that V is also there. They take Vicky to the interrogation room and force him to talk. He testified that Mallikarjun and Prasad are ruthless thugs. Mallikarjun seized his land some time ago. Infuriated, Vicky threatened to kill him. Meanwhile, he was also annoyed with Prasad, who protect Mallikarjun. Vicky wants to terrorize them both to satisfy his annoyance, but Aditya doesn't believe it. He tells Vicky to speak, but his voice doesn't resemble with the killer's voice. Meanwhile, V in a bus with someone next to him who is watching a sadistic movie. V tries to freaking him out by claiming to be a hitman. At his destination city, V immediately hid in the house in the village. While Aditya just came home, he received a call from Apoorva. She invites Aditya for a dinner to celebrate her birthday. In Apoorva's house, Aditya gets impressed by Apoorva's beauty and start to fall in love. In the middle of dinner, Apoorva's father chatting with Aditya and tells him that he had become an easy target for his wife. It doesn't take long before Aditya realized that easy target was a word that very similar to the hint given by V. Aditya then borrows Apoorva's laptop and manages to discover that the location of the next murder is in Andheri, which is located in Mumbai. Aditya feels happy, then kisses Apoorva's cheeks and leaves. In the midst of the chase, Aditya asks Mansoor to contact the police in the Andheri to check the hotel named Fistfast, just as the hint from V. Meanwhile, V meets KK, a gun dealer and thug. V buying weapons from KK, but he doesn't pay for it. Instead, he beat all KK's men and then punched a knife into a KK's neck to death. When he comes out, he is already intercepted by Aditya and the police. He then raises his two fingers to make V signs and run away. Aditya chases after him, but unfortunately, he gets hit by a car that leaves V slips away. Not long after the chase, Aditya receives a photo of him from his school days. Next to him, there's a boy's circle in the picture. The next day, he rushed to his school and asked his teacher. His teacher says his name is Vishnu and he has entered the military. Aditya asks another teacher. He knew him and says that he suddenly dropped out of school because he was in debt and kicked out of town with his family. After that, his name was unknown, but that's where he gets a hint that there was a friend also in the military. Then he goes to a house and meets someone named Ratnakumar. Unfortunately, Ratnakumar is in a miserable condition. He lost both his legs while fighting with Vishnu. Ratnakumar then tells Aditya that Vishnu is a great soldier. He and Vishnu was service in Kashmir. Vishnu fell in love with a woman named Saheba, whom he met at the mall, when Saheba was having trouble carrying things and Vishnu helped her. Later on, they got married and lived happily. Finally, Saheba got pregnant, but unfortunately, Vishnu actually got assigned to eradicate the terrorists. Saheba cried and asked Vishnu to come back soon. Vishnu finally calmed Saheba and told her that everything would be fine. Then he went on duty deep in the forest. Together with Ratnakumar, he was in charge to monitor terrorist movement in Outback. The assignment was taking too long that made him concerned about Sahiba's condition. So he applied for leave, but his superior declined his request because he was a reliable soldier. So the battle began and their troops were cornered. Vishnu got spotted and fainted and fell into a cliff with the swift river below. Vishnu was later declared missing. Ratnakumar then burst into tears saying that Saheba had also died. Aditya then gets a clue and rushes to call Mansoor and asks to find files about CCTV videos and details about Saheba. He meets the police chief and tells all the evidence he found that the identity of the killer was actually V, or Fiznu, who was a student at the same school as him. He tells about V's motive for committed murder. However, instead of being pleased with Aditya's investigation, the police chief gets angry because Aditya has no evidence at all. The chief says that he's being under pressure and humiliated by the national police chiefs and the mass media. Aditya promised to get the job done well and immediately goes to meet his partner in the investigator room. His colleague says they can't find Saheba in any CCTV footage, but Mansur says that he got a clue, which is Sahiba's neighbor. Apparently, Saheba is an orphan whose parents died in a bomb. Rasid says he saw Saheba near the gold shop. So Aditya goes to the gold shop and asks the manager, but he dodged the question about Saheba. He says he don't remember and even deleted his CCTV footage every month. Over suspicious, Aditya asks Mansur to follow the gold shop manager. Later that night, he gets a photo that someone named Ramani had meeting in the gold shop. She was the one who was saved by Aditya on the day of the riot. That same night, Aditya meets Ramani. He asks Ramani to tell everything. Ramani tells that she is the owner of the orphanage. To help the finance, she always sends girl for the rascal. One day, a child named Ayesha recorded Kalyani being raped by 3 men. One of them was the son of a minister named Ranjit. Kalyani then ran and meet Sadiq Hassan, an enemy of the government. He used the evidence to drain the minister's treasure. Then Sadiq was planned to be killed in the riot. During the riot, Inspector Prasad asked Ramani to divert Aditya's attention, not to be close to Sadiq's location, but to deal with other problems. After learning the story, Aditya finally concludes that the next victim are Sarith and Ranjit, but it's already too late. V had met Sarith and killed him by spilling hot iron liquid in his mouth. Aditya immediately calls the minister and says that his son is in danger. Then Aditya says that he will escort his son's party on a small island. Aditya and his team come to escort Ranjit. In the middle of the party, as has been speculated, V start to attack and a shoutout are unavoidable. Ranjit is spotted and run into the forest, while Aditya and his team chase after him. But unlucky, Ranjit already beheaded. Aditya gets frustrated and about to shoot himself in the head. However, Aditya ends up shooting the bullet into the sky. A few days later, he invites the press and resigns. The police feel humiliated, so they caught a pickpocket named Vamsi and act as the perpetrators of the murder. Not long after, V contacts Aditya and asks him to meet. In the middle of the meeting, Aditya says that in fact he sided with V in Ranjit's murder. He purposely lures Ranjit into the forest after his man was killed. Aditya knows that V will kill him in the jungle. After learning what happened, then V believes in Aditya. He finally tells how Saheba died in the riots. At that time, Saheba was in the gold shop and soon a riot broke out. Unable to save herself, Saheba hid in the toilet, and coincidentally, Ayesha was there. V gives Aditya a video confessional from Saheba, which tells that the riot was just an attempt to kill Sadiq Hassan and Ayesha because of the evidence of rape. V also thought that the medal that Aditya received was a setup just to close the case quickly. But after saw Aditya's efforts, V finally believed on him. V then provide evidence to restore Aditya's reputation. At the end of the film, Apoorva finally writes the story about Saheba, which is also dedicated to V. And the film's end.